Hello everyone, my name is Mateus. In this lesson, I'm going to try to help some of you, giving I don't know, some starting point to start writing tests. So I have a fresh Laravel installation here, Laravel 5.2, and let me just start the server. Okay, so yeah, we have this Laravel installation. And we're going to talk about tests. First of all, why should we even write tests? I mean, time's money, so the time you spend writing tests, you could be writing code, right? Wrong. So it's really yeah, you can write good code without testing, that's for sure. But let's go with the thought. A lot of people actually, most of the people used to write, or sorry, most of the people is used to test everything manually. Like, you want to test a form is creating a record in the database. You go fill the form and click in the submit button, and you could actually automate that. You don't have to do it manually. You can write a test, do it for you. Another thing is, when you have a good test coverage, when you test most of the parts of your app, you'll make sure at least most of the your app's features are working. Sometimes you may change something in a model and it will break some part of the site, and you wouldn't even know because you'd probably not test it manually. So your test should warn you of that. And most importantly, it makes you write good code. In a test driven development style, you usually write tests before writing the feature itself, so the test will fail. You write the test how something should work, it does not work yet. And after the test fails, you start to write the feature. So you write the feature. Once your tests go green, it passes, you refactor your code, so you usually get good code. So let's dive into action. The first thing is, I'm running MySQL, so I already have my database set up, but we're not even going to use it. We're going to use SQLite. Why? We're going to talk only about tests, so while testing, we should not use our production or development database. I think the best thing to do is to test everything in memory using SQLite. So if we go to phpunit.xml, we can set up some environment variables. So we can say that when testing, the connection should be not MySQL but SQLite. And we can also say that whenever testing, our database should be memory. This way we're always going to test not a actual database. Okay, let's go. First of all, we're going to imagine a situation where I have a website and the users registered on my website can publish books authored by themselves. So to keep it simple, a book may have a name and may not should have a name and a price, and of course an owner. So the first thing we need to do is create our book model. Laravel already ships with an user model, so that's not needed. So okay, let's write this. And let's make a migration too. Okay. And there we go. So must have a name. Oops. Let's make it an integer, not a float. so it may have a price, and it should have also a owner. Must be an integer called user ID. It must be greater than 0, so unsigned. And let's make a foreign key, so user ID references ID on users on delete cascade. So whenever we delete a user, it also delete their books. Okay, we already have our migration set up, and before we dive into tests, Laravel already ships with a simple test, something you could automate. This test, for example, it simply visits the root page, the home page, and see if it can find some Laravel 5 written somewhere, and it does. Here we go. So if we run this test, whoops, using PHP unit, we go green. One test, 2 assertions, everything's okay. If we change this to Laravel 4, it's going to fail, because this page does not have Laravel 4 written anywhere. So Laravel 5 passes. So let's first delete our example test, and let's make our own test. We're first going to test if a book can be created. So artisan make test book test. Okay, here we go. You may see that it already ships with some classes imported, like without middleware, database migrations, and database transactions. These are traits, so we can use them. We're going to use database migrations, so use database migrations. So each test is actually a method, and we can either write and use the test prefix, everything came okay, or we can just use whatever style we like and tell PHP unit it is a test. So we have test example. Let's see if it passes. Okay, it passes. True is true. So let me just close this. If we tried something like true should be true, something like that, take a look that no tests were found in the book test class. That's because we need to tell PHP unit this is a test, so we can just write test. Now it's going to test it. One test, one assertion. Okay, so we're using database migrations to always run migrations before running each test. Remember, we're running tests in memory, so we always have to run these migrations. I'm going to write something like test books can be created. Let me tell this is a test. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a user. I mean, a book needs an user, so we do need this user. So we can say, here I'm going to use model factories. Let me show you. If we go to database factories model factory, we already have a factory defined. A factory is basically a way to generate data. I mean, to test or to seed your local application with records in the database, and it allows us to generate dumb data. So it also uses the faker library to generate fake data. So here we can generate many users using a fake name and a fake email, and well, let me show you. Let me just run my migrations here. I'm going to go to Tinker. I'm going to say that users are factory app user class. Remember, app user class just returns the string with the class path namespace. So create. If I run this command, I'm going to get a user instance. I'm not going to get a collection. That's because we're generating just one model. Sorry, I'm just I don't even know the English word to what I felt. So anyway, so I want to actually generate 100 of them. So I just pass it as the second parameter. So okay, let's see what happens. Okay, I got 100 people here. Well, my SQL Pro is not open, so I would I would show you, but okay, here we go. If this guy has the ID of 100, that must prove to you there are 100 people here. Okay, of this. So a user is a user we generate. Then we need a book. We need to create a book. So we don't have this implemented yet, and that's the point. So let's say the book is user. Some function called this is we're accessing an eloquent relationship. Books create, and we're going to create a book called, I don't know, The Hobbit, and the price may be like 15 or 10. Let's go with 10. So yeah, we already have our book. After that, how can we make sure the book has actually been created? Well, we can say something like found book is, I don't know, find one. We know there's only one book, so we can do something like that. And we can make sure we can use PHP unit assertions to make sure that the found book name equals the book name, or just pass as a string right here, The Hobbit. We don't even need to hit the database. We can just, I mean, we don't even need to find this record. We can just use this one. So okay, and we can also make sure book price equals 10. Besides that, we can also another way to make sure the record is in the database is, let me just comment that, is using the sim database method. So which you see in the books database, in the books table, which you see a record with ID 1, because that there's only one book, so it must be book 1, with a name called The Hobbit, and with a price of 10. So let's run this test. Okay, it failed. Let me just uncomment that. It still fails. Call to undefined method books. Why? We don't have the books method yet, so that's not going to work. So we need to go to the user model right here and create this method, books return has many classes. Okay, let me just import that. Let's see what we get now. Take a look that these errors are kind of helping us to see what's wrong, so we can fix it. Now let's run PHP unit. Mass assignment exception. We did not set up our fillable property, so Laravel does not know which columns are allowed to have its value filled, something like that. I'm not sure about the exact sentence I should use here. So let's set it up. What's fillable? The name and its price. Okay. Now unexpected equals. Whoops, my bad. Okay, so that should be fillable, and the test passes. Take a look. One test, 3 assertions, everything's good. If we changed the name to, I don't know, the a lot of the rings, it's not going to pass. That's what we expected, that's what we got. So that's that's not going to work. So let's head up this up to back to the Hobbit. And we can also write other tests. Let me just change that to camel case. Test books can be created. Well, we can test a book can be fetched, like, I don't know, let me think of a better option. Well, I think that's it for now. I could show you how to test JSON APIs in this video, but I don't think I need to. But let's write a test to make sure a book can be deleted. So test books can be deleted. This test name is books can be created, and we're actually testing just one book, but whatever. So first of all, I'm just going to copy and paste that. Okay, so I already have a user, and user I already have a book. So as I already have this book, let's delete it. And now we're going to use the not seen database methods to make sure we don't see this record in database. So the table books should not have a record with ID 1, should not have a record with name The Hobbit, and with price 10. Let's see how this works. These are really just dumb tests, so let's just take a look. And okay, it passes. So that's basically how you can start writing tests. So let's say you forgot to set a mass assignment field right here. Let's say I forgot to set price. Your tests are going to warn you of this. So yeah, a lot of errors. So we need this price here, and it passes. So tests are really good to help you at this stuff, so you don't have to test everything manually. And I really hope I helped you. And well, that's it for now. So in the next video, I'm going to try to cover testing JSON APIs, so we can actually test our controllers to make sure they are working. So well, that's it. Thanks everyone. Sorry for my bad English. This is the second time I'm recording this video, so yeah, I'm kind of tired. So well, thanks, and have a good night or day or whatever. Bye.